deteriorating. Let's toss it on over to meteorologist Brantly Kike, we haven't seen in a very long time. Brantly, how are you out there?
Yeah, Taylor, it's been a while since we checked in. We've had to change locations more than a few times now. It's really unsafe to be outside at this point and out on the roads. We're in a much safer location now. We're protected on 3 sides, so we are in a better place now for this live shot. But on our way earlier, we were stopping by locations along US 90 here in Gulfport, and we saw the water rising very rapidly. I mean, just in about 5 minutes or so, we saw the storm surge increase by about a foot or 2. So it is rapidly rising even as the storm pulls to the northeast. We're still seeing those winds come off the Gulf and off the Mississippi Sound, so that water pushing ashore very quickly right now. There's also lots of debris down. Part of the reason it's taken so long for us to get back on the air here, our news vehicle was actually hit by some flying debris, shattering some of the windows. Our crew and I are safe. We are okay, but we are in a much better place now. But it just goes to show that people should not be out on the roads. Whether or not you're worried about the wind, there is heavy flying debris. We've seen railroad crossings tumbled over. Light posts are down. Some traffic lights are down across the area. We've seen several transformers blowing up across the area on and off. So we've seen a lot of electrical issues. There's wires down as well. So it's really just not good conditions to be outside. Everyone should be seeking shelter right now, and preferably in a location far away from windows and doors. You want to make sure that you are putting as many windows between you and as many walls between you and the outside as possible. I mean, just right here, we have a small branch down that's been here for a few minutes now. We've had parts of roofs fly off. Earlier in Jones Park, part of the roof of the main pavilion just ripped off of the roof there. And if you look behind me, we have water that is just covering one of the casino parking lots here. We have water that has risen probably about 3 or 4 feet in the last half hour. So the storm surge has been very suddenly increasing, and we've seen several things floating in it. We've seen cars floating by, we've seen trash cans, stop signs, all sorts of things, small and large, floating in that debris. It just takes a few feet of moving water to really push a vehicle or any large object along. So if you really just don't get outside right now and really avoid areas right along the coast especially. We have several trees down across the area. We've seen thousands of power outages already, according to some of the power companies across the area, and we're still getting very strong gusts of wind. I mean, wind right now probably going at around 50 to 60 miles an hour, gusting a little bit higher than that at times. So we are going to continue to see more limbs and trees fall down and things like that, more damage occurring. One thing I like to note is that on the front end of the storm, whenever it was first approaching, we saw those winds coming out of the south and southeast. Now that we're seeing this thing move off to the northeast, on the backside of the hurricane, you know, we have a counterclockwise circulation. So we're going to see winds now coming from the other direction as it starts to switch around. So things that easily got loosened up in the first eye wall passage, now going to more than likely, we're going to see more debris flying now in the second half of the eye wall. That debris got loosened up, or we had those tree limbs that have fallen and the trees that have fallen. They can now become projectiles on the backside of this once we get those stronger winds pushing through. So again, it's really not safe to be outside, but it's really incredible to see the storm surge rising already so far. I mean, it has just really rapidly increased here right along US 90, just in front of the Mississippi Sound. We are still not at high tide. High tide in Gulfport tonight just after 11 p.m. So we still have a little ways to go, and with the winds coming out of the southwest, anticipate that storm surge to continue to increase. So make sure that you are staying in a safe place. And again, try to avoid windows and doors at this time. Try to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Live in Gulfport, Brantly Kike, News 25. We're going to go back to you guys there in the studio.
All right, Brantly, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that you are okay, and I want to reiterate that real quick. Brantly said he got glass in his eye because of the storms, the heavy winds and rains. They damaged our news car. They shattered our windows from the flying debris. Please stay inside. We are urging you to please stay inside. It is not safe outside. Not to mention there's debris all over the roads. There's power lines everywhere. If you see a power outage or a power line on the ground, please contact your local law enforcement as well. Let's toss it on over to Chief Meteorologist Rob Knight with how it's looking here in South Mississippi. Rob, please.
Hey, Taylor, great advice to our viewers out there. And, you know, we're listening to the scanners here in the local area. Folks, like Taylor has said, like Brantly is saying, being out in the element, we've got vehicle damages. We've got wrecks in the local area. We've got power lines.